from the way they see fit. But just here, the way we do things here, we like to build our program from the high school young men.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
James Hill. Are you there, James? All right,
James, he has a dial up, Karen.
We'll jump to Mr. Foreman in the meantime, and if James is available, we'll get back to him.
Good morning, Coach Oliver. How are you?
I'm well. How you doing this morning?
Fine, thanks.
Uh-oh, here we go. Hold on, James.
Okay.
It looked like he hopped off, so go ahead, Mr. Foreman.
Okay. You talked about Campbell's size on the offensive and defensive lines of the ball. What else in terms of challenges do the Campbells present to you? Backfield, what kind of quarterback do they have? What do you know of them that will sort of augment the size they present and possess?
Well, offensively, they're big, like I said, and physical. Their tackles, 6'8", 345. The other tackle is 6'7", 355. Those are two huge, those are two big human beings right there. And their running backs are over 200 pounds. They're just big all across the board. They're huge. And the quarterback, like I said, he is extremely elusive. And if you all have opportunity, you can go back and look at the Presbyterian game or look what he did against ECU. He's a magician back there. So we've got to do a great job of containing him. And defensively, schematically, they do a lot of things. As far as twist games up front with their defense, the way they do bring pressures from different ways. And then they do a good job of disguising coverages. So we've got to be on point this week. And our coaching staff, we've got to come with a great game plan. And really, I think just about keeping it simple for our guys is to be able to play fast.
You don't, as you said, want to run Richard too much. You don't have designed quarterback runs as the standard and focus of your offense. Is it the perimeter game that's going to play a big factor this weekend to sort of counterbalance the size on their defensive front?
I think we had a strain. We're not going to change what we do. We're going to run the same plays y'all seen us run the last 4 weeks. But, we got to come with a mindset. We got to be physical. And, they're going to hit us and we got to hit them back. And, it's going to be a physical football game. And then I think, there's going to be some areas that we can take advantage of on the perimeter with our wide receivers. I think they've played well all year. Andrew Smith, Devin Smith, and, EJ Hicks. We have a great core receivers. So when they stack the box, we've got to be able to take advantage of those one-on-one matchups on the perimeter.
One quick final question. We don't quite know which way Hurricane Ian is going to be coming, but it may affect the game. If you get a sloppy conditions, of course, you both have to play in it, but will rain drastically alter what you want to do if there's a lot of rain on Saturday?
As long as it's raining on both sidelines, we'll be fine. If they play in the same conditions we playing in, it doesn't even matter. So we'll be prepared. As long as hopefully the hurricane does not affect the game, but we don't worry about the conditions. Rain, sleet, hail, snow, it don't matter. We'll be ready.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, Ty Miller. Ty, we can't hear you. Nope. Okay, so let's try James Hill again, and if we can get Ty back, we will.
Good morning, Coach. How are you, sir? Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, man. They were talking bad on you a second ago, man. I told them to leave you alone.
Yeah, I know. Internet, I'm down here in Florida, and we got some things coming our way that we might not want to see. Talk a little bit about the success of your football team, nationally ranked, very high in HBCU polls as well as FCS, and you guys continue to grind it out and stack wins 4-0 as you move forward.
It's the organization here, our program. That's everybody. Like I keep saying, that everybody's doing their job, and that's the part of their success. The guys are working their butts off, and I'm really pleased to see it. But again, we have not won a conference game yet. We're 4-0, so we haven't gotten a trophy, we haven't gotten a ring. So we appreciate the media and these folks that appreciate what we do, but we got to win today. I challenge the guys. We got to be 100% in study hall today. We got to be 100% with these class checks, and then from there, that'll carry on to us hopefully winning a football game this weekend. But we've come a long way from when I got here in 2019, but we still have a ways to go.
It looks like
Alluded to it earlier.
I'm sorry, I missed you. Say that again, James.
The ground game and Pee Wee, Mr. Richard, and the guys, everybody chipped in, and you guys scored the football.
Yes, and we have some really good running backs back there. When you look at Mookie Collier and Jamari Taylor is really coming to his own, and then the guy is Christian Mosley. We got to figure out a way. And I told the guys in the offensive staff meeting yesterday, we've got to figure out a way to get this guy involved in the game plan. He can absolutely fly. He got an opportunity to carry the ball a couple times Saturday and broke one, I think, for about 60. And he can really change the whole pace and tempo of the game. And, when you have backs like that, it can take some pressure off of running your quarterback, so many times throughout the game.
All right, good luck going forward, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, James. We're going to keep you in Florida in our prayers, man, with the weather.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
all right, Coach Oliver. Those are all the questions we have. So thank you very much, and we will talk to you next week.
All right, thank you, Karen. Have a good day.
You too. Take care. The Eagles make the trip to Buies Creek, North Carolina to take on the Campbell Camels. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m. and the game can be seen live on ESPN+. Up next, we have Delaware State head coach Rod Milstead. Good morning, Coach Milstead. How are you?
Good morning. How are you, Karen?
I am doing well today, Coach. All right, talk to us a little bit about Saturday's game against Merrimack.
Saturday's game wasn't the outcome we anticipated. We have a lot of things that we got to get corrected. Got some guys banged up. Of course, our quarterback did not play and was banged up, and our offense really flows around what he does. So got to get some guys ready to go and ready and back this week. So guys are banged up, beat up a little bit, but hopefully the few days rest will get us ready to go for against Robert Morris.
But you mentioned Robert Morris on Saturday. What can we expect from the Hornets?
Well, we've been in this situation before. We played a team last year that didn't have a win, and we're back in the situation again, playing a team that doesn't have a win. And those are the games that concern me the most because they're hungry, they're eager to get it done, and they want to get that zero off of their record. So I've told our guys when we met with them yesterday that we're just going to focus in on fighting Robert Morris. That's it. It's playing those guys and do what we do well. Did some things that I really didn't like last week. Saw some things I didn't like, and we're going to go back to basics and be who we are. A passing team, we're not. We're a running team, and so we're going to go back to basics and be that strong running team, and that makes our offense flow better.
All right, Coach. Well, good luck this weekend. We will now turn it over to the media for questions, beginning with Dr. Cavell.
This is Dr. Cavell with Inside HBC Sports Lab. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
I want to talk a little bit about the rushing game that you alluded to. Yards wise, 32, so it's evident that you didn't run the ball as much as you want. Did that have much to do with the fact that your starting quarterback didn't play, or was it the way they played at you, or is it some things that you want to do schematically to get that going?
Well, I think a lot of it had to do with yard loss. Okay, when you look at the big scheme of things, we rushed for over 100 some yards, and then we lost 70 some, and that's where you get the short yardage. But we got to do a better job up front. The offensive line, they
Got
didn't play well. Gave up 7 sacks, something we haven't done all year long, and that bothers me. So myself and Coach Braxton will be spending a whole lot of time together this week, making sure we solidify that. And then, you know, we've had some injuries and some guys that are banged up, and we'll get them back hopefully this week and tune this thing up.
What about on the defensive side of the ball as you get into this Robert Morris game? Are there some things that you believe that you can get done with your defense in terms of attacking them? Or is this more of an effort mindset in terms of coming in this game, changing what may have took place last game?
No, our D line is who they are, and our defense is who they are. We attack you from all angles. We put pressure on the quarterback, like we've done in every game we've played so far. If you look at the game last week, they got us on a play that we've watched 1,000,001 times, and they tricked us. I'll be honest with you. I got to give it to them. They took advantage of a halfback pass, which all week long we told our defensive backs, hey, don't take your eye off the receiver. Do not look at the quarterback. You see it on film. He turns his head. Receiver takes off. He's down the field by himself. Couldn't catch up. So just some small things we got to get corrected. But I feel really confident about our football team. Nothing's changed, except, you know, we have another a check in the learn column, and we'll learn from this and move forward.
You talked about CJ Henry being banged up in that game. Does it look like he'll be able to move forward, or is that, you know, game time type of decision going through the rest of the season?
It'll be the game time decision, but we're hoping to get Jared Lewis back, who's our starting quarterback. So hope to get Jared back and get him to practice tomorrow. From everything that I'm seeing, Jared should be fine.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, let's see if we can hear from Mr. James Hill.
Down
Hey,
in
good
Florida.
morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Awesome. Can you just talk a little bit about your first quarter in the last game you played, your takeaways there, and what are some of the things you would like to see look differently?
I'd like to see us come out of the locker room more aggressive in terms of putting points on the board. We've struggled of late putting points on the board, and that's where my concern. First couple of drives, you go down and you kick field goals, and you know, if you look across the scoreboard, and whether it's FBS or FCS, a lot of people are scoring a lot of points. Okay, it's not a field goal game; it's a touchdown game, and so that's got to be our mindset, and that's where we're hoping to get corrected this week. Going to do some things, going to help our quarterback become more successful and feel more confident. Against Robert Morris, so we're excited. We get to play another game, and after this week, we get a chance to rest a week and get some guys healthy.
Coach, it's always great to play at home. You get another opportunity coming up as we move into October. Just talk a little bit about moving forward and Robert Morris.
Well, Robert Morris is a team that's played everybody tough. One thing about them, they're very much like us. They don't quit. They don't back down. They played Dayton, they played Miami of Ohio, and they played East Tennessee State. And the one thing you see in all the games that they've played is that they play till the final call. Yes, they make some mistakes, but they do have a good football team. They got some good skilled receivers that do a really good job. Their quarterback manages. I think if you look at the offensive line, they're big. They're big, they're grabbers. They're not very athletic, but they're big grabber guy. And their defensive line, they get after the quarterback, and their linebackers flow very, very well. So we'll have our job cut out for us. We haven't played them in a numerous of years, so it should be a fun, exciting game here in Dover on Saturday.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, that looks like all the questions we have for you today. So you go have a good week, and we will talk to you next week. All right, the Hornets host Robert Morris at 6 p.m. on Saturday. The game can be seen live on the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN+. Up next, we're going to hear from Norfolk State head coach Dawson Odoms. Good morning, Coach Odoms. How are you? Coach Odoms, are you there? Let's give Coach another second or two to get on. I see him on, but I can't hear him.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, doing great.
Awesome, Coach. All right. Tell us a little bit about Saturday's outing against St. Francis, please.
Well, we made some progress. I really thought we did some really good things, did some bad things, but we're getting better. I can really see that we're getting better, and it's good to see that our young guys are really growing, and that's what it takes. We're a development team, and what I've been trying to explain to our fan base and everybody is that we got here in May, so we didn't have a recruiting class that first season. So those seniors departed. Our first recruiting class was this past season. So instead of us getting ready to go on our third recruiting class, we're actually on our second. So we understand that we got some young guys and we got to put them in better position. And we're going to do that. I think from what we saw on Saturday, we've been able to find the right guys to go out there that's going to compete at a high level and give us a chance to win a football game. But we made some mistakes. We had some young guys to make some mistakes, but you're going to have that. But we're not frustrated. We're just trying to chop wood, carry water. That's the only way it go turn around. We just got to keep working. And we're 0-4. I think the last time that happened to me was when I played chess. Probably lost my first 4 times out, and then I became a pretty good chess player because I kept playing. And that's what we tell these players, just keep playing, keep working. And everything everybody's want to achieve in this conference is in front of them. But you got to start playing well. And I've been seeing that the last couple of weeks. We're getting better in some areas. And I think that's all we got to do is keep working. We made a change at quarterback. Adams played really well. We scored 26 points, which I think is enough to win a football game. We gave us some big plays on defense that led to us losing the football game. But I really think going forward, we got the right guys in the right position and really going to continue to look at how we're doing it and just get better at doing it. And I think the best is in front of us. All we got to do is keep going and keep trusting the process.
All right, Coach. Great to hear that. What can we expect this Saturday against Sacred Heart?
Unbelievable effort from the Spartans. I think these guys are ready to play in all 3 phases. I think the mindset is where it needs to be. Reset, refocus, and just get ourselves in position. Start fast. We haven't started the game fast, and let's see what that looks like. And we're behind, and it's hard to play when you're behind. But I really think our guys got some confidence because we were able to do some things offensively that allowed us to play really well in a football game than what we have in the past. As long as you keep improving, I think you got a chance to get better. And that's what our guys are doing. Roll up their sleeves, come to work, and let's see if we can taste victory on Saturday.
Awesome, Coach. Those are the questions I have for you. We'll now go to the media, beginning with Dr. Cavill.
This is Dr. Bill with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Coach Odom, wanted to get into last week's game, but particularly with your ability to rush the ball. You had several guys that seemed to be pretty effective. One had 1 run for 81 yards, obviously, but Lennon had 10 carries for 80 yards and got in the end zone. But overall, team, you put up 254 yards. What allowed you to have that type of success running the ball this past weekend?
Well, I think our O-line has been working and just getting the right guys in the right seats on the bus. And I really thought that our offensive staff did a good job of identifying those guys and putting them in position to make plays. Lennon is a true freshman. Kavon King's a true freshman. Winodi's a true freshman. College Pride is a redshirt freshman. So, and 3 of those guys got their first college touchdown. So we have talent. It's just youth. And when you have a youth movement, there's no substitute for experience. And as long as these guys keep coming to work, keep getting better, keep doing the little things. And as we get better with the little things, big things will happen. And we're getting there. We're gaining on it. And we think we got a chance again to knock on the door this week and get a chance to taste a W.
You go on the road this week in terms of that matchup against Sacred Heart. What do you look for your defense in terms of them to be more effective going into this matchup?
let's get lined up and let's execute and let's play aggressive style of football, knowing what we're doing, and let's do it with some attitude and let's execute. That's the biggest thing, is just execution. I think when you play so many new guys, so many young guys, the execution part is where you struggle at. But get these guys on the same page. Let's look at what we're doing, how we're doing it, and let's put them in better position as a coaching staff. And if we can do that, I think these guys will play the kind of football we're looking forward to them playing.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and the fellas are well. Can you talk a little bit about the development, Mr. Adams in the pocket, and then also JJ was able to, have a good game, but talk a little bit about JJ's development as well.
Well, I think when you look at it there, it's been a struggle. And when you're struggling, everybody quick to point fingers and make excuses. And like I explained to them, reality is not an excuse. And sometimes people confuse that when they hear people talk, or when they hear coaches talk. Sometimes they say they're making excuses. I always was taught reality is not an excuse. And that's what we tell our players. Here's the reality of where we are, but this is also the reality of what we can be. And if we work and we keep developing and just be patient and understanding, but don't let that affect our work ethic, you'll see these guys continue to improve. I thought JJ came out with a great game plan by the offensive staff to get him the ball. We moved him around a little bit and took advantage of his talents. And that's the creativity that I've been looking for on that side of the ball, and just try to explain to our guys is that we have a circle of what we know and what we want to do, but sometimes we have to get outside of that circle in order to make things work and get creative, because you might want to be one way, but might not have the pieces of the puzzle to be that way. But we do have pieces. So let's put those pieces in position. Let's create a new puzzle and let's find out a way to get some success. And I thought they did a great job of capitalizing on Adam's strength and JJ's strength, because they give us a chance to put explosive players on the field. And everybody know in this conference, if you got a dual threat quarterback, you have to call defenses a little bit differently. And going forward, when teams see us play, we're going to put even more on film for teams to have to say, holy smokes, because we got some talent. Those two freshman running backs are special. And they got to get on the field because they give us a chance for explosive plays. And that's what we've been talking about as a staff. And creativity is coming in different forms, and we're going to make people have to defend what we do as we get ready to go down this stretch run.
Hey, Coach Odoms, a lot of times people are so caught up in the destination, but the journey is where the character is built. Can you just talk a little bit about chopping wood, as you say, carrying water, and your program, just marching your Spartans as you guys continue to grind and get through this process?
Well, exactly. I think the journey is most important. Like I tell our guys, I always try to tell them where we are and then give them a true vision of where we want to be and how we can get there. And we haven't played good enough football to be 1-0. And that's all we talk about each week. How can we go 1-0? What can we do better this week to go 1-0? And we get that plan to our players. And this journey is difficult and different for everybody. Sometimes you want immediate success. I tell people all the time, everybody wants a championship, but are you willing to do what it takes to get a championship? All fans want a championship, but is the institution doing what it needs to for a program to win a championship? Our wants, they're good, We all want things in life, but are we doing the necessary things to get those things in life? It don't just happen. And it requires a lot of work, and it requires all hands on deck, and it requires everybody being a part of it. And that's just the nature of the business. And when you win one without those things, I give glory to the man upstairs. And when you win it and you got all those things, I still give glory. Humble in defeat, humble in victory. That's what our process is all about. And we control our own destination. We control whether we go 1-0. And that's what we try to focus on this journey.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week.
Thank you.
Daryl Duvall.
Hello, Coach. This is Daryl Duvall from Found You Media. I just had one question, and also I want to say that you all are getting better. I just want to talk about leadership. How do you feel about the leadership now going forward with the team that you kind of built, and how does it, I mean, the leadership in the locker room?
Well, I think it starts with the character of the guys that you're recruiting, and leadership is giving guys an opportunity to be leaders. Sometimes we think certain guys are leaders and they're not. I always say leaders rise to the occasion, and then it's your coach responsibility to put that guy in a position to be a leader. I don't think leaders are always the best players on your team. I don't think leaders are always the all-conference performers or your all-Americans. I think leaders are guys that hold guys accountable, and that could come from anybody on your football team. Leaders are guys that do things the right way. Their names ain't on study hall list. They go to class, they do the little things, they do the right things. And that's what makes you a leader. And I think a lot of guys on football teams have the opportunity to be great leaders, but a lot of coaches shy away from giving them leadership responsibilities. And that's what we try to do here. We try to put leadership in different positions, whether that's a locker room committee, a dorm committee, whether that's a captain for our football team. We have different roles for everybody, because once you put them in those positions, then you can groom them and put them in a position where they can be leaders and make leadership decisions.
Thank you, Coach. And good luck this week. Like I said, you are getting pretty close, and I know Sacred Heart is again, it's a learning process for these kids. So
yeah, a lot to be learned, and they're growing fast, and they're gonna need to continue to grow fast, and they'll be ready. I feel like this week these guys are. You can see it. You can sort of see the light switch coming on. It's coming on at the right time. We just need to taste some success, and once we taste that success, I think this football team will be ready for the second half of the season.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Julia Haskins.
Hey, Coach. I'm just wondering what adjustments or what was your message to your guys at halftime to be able to come out much stronger and put together some drives?
You know, first I talked to the coaches, and I told the coaches I'm very different depending on the situation of the game. I don't coach one way, or I don't respond to things one way, and you know, I'm very different. I understand we were struggling in that football game, and told them, let's make the necessary adjustments and let's see if we can go out and win the second half. Let's just focus on the things that we can control. And I felt like we started playing really, really well. I thought the message from our coaches to our players got to them, and we fell behind too quick, and we was behind too far. And we had a chance to make a couple plays in that second half that we didn't make. And when you don't make those plays, it's hard to come back. But the fight and the grit was still there. And that's promising. And I think you try to find the positives of what happened in the second half, and then you begin to carry that over into the next week's opponent. And I like that for our guys. And I know it's some frustration, especially for our seniors. But getting them to understand that we just 1-0 opportunity away from really turning this thing around, because people gonna have to deal with us, because we know we're a young football team, but we're talented, and we're looking forward to this next opportunity.
Nah, they supposed to be on the.
You should be now. Good now, Coach. Sorry about that.
Oh, I'm good.
All right, you can go ahead, Julia.
Oh, yeah. And then one final question, Coach. What do games like the one on Saturday do for, the confidence of these younger guys moving forward?
Well, usually the confidence is right after the game, or, when you're struggling during the game. You have to understand a lot of the psychological development that it takes to overcome adversity. As someone that's had to overcome a lot of that in life, you rely on those experiences to be able to relate to your players. And it hurt. It's supposed to hurt. Losing's supposed to hurt. And it means a lot to our players. And we're challenging ourselves as coaches to put these guys in better position to taste victory. We're challenging our players to put themselves in better position to taste victory. So everybody is under the challenge this week to do the necessary things. We got a short week. We got a trip. We're going up to Connecticut and get our football team ready to play. But it's just understanding the heartbeat. And you can't have it one way in this day and age because these guys, you can't reach them the same way that you could reach guys back when I played in the 90s. It's totally different. You got to adjust, you got to adapt, and we got to somehow rally the storm because it don't last. And that's why I try to tell people all the time, you go through some things, it don't last. People that was at the top are no longer at the top. People at the bottom are always rising. So we just chop wood and carry water and try to put our football team in the best position to be successful. I know it's redundant, but one thing I know, process proves itself over time. And we know the time is running out on this season, but we're going to put our process to the test this week.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Always. Thank you.
All right, Coach Odoms, thank you for your time this morning. Thank you for being here with us, and good luck on Saturday.
It was a pleasure. Thank you. Behold, the green and gold.
Norfolk State travels to Fairfield, Connecticut to play Sacred Heart on Saturday. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m. and the game will be streamed live on NEC Front Row. Up next, we'll talk to South Carolina State head coach, Buddy Pugh. Good morning, Coach Pugh. How are you?
Good morning, Karen. How are you?
I am doing well, Coach. All right, can you tell us a little bit about Saturday's game at A&T?
Yeah, not very pretty. We played at North Carolina A&T on Saturday, big crowd and nice atmosphere. Everything was in good taste and what have you. We ended up rocking and rolling with them for about, I guess, the first 28 minutes of the first half. We up, and then we ended up giving up about, well, I guess maybe 14, 18 points there right at the end of the first half, the beginning of the second half. And from that point, you know, we were fighting to try to get back to even. We couldn't run the football and couldn't stop the run. Very unusual sensation for us in a game such as this. We could not stop the run, and we could not run the football at all. So I got to take my hat off to Coach Washington and his crowd. They did a nice job, and we ended up getting beat up pretty good. So we move on. We play at South Carolina this coming Saturday. It's a big game for us. 30 minutes up the road apiece here. We go up and play them at noontime on Saturday. They've got all the bells and whistles, everything in place to be one of the premier programs in the country. They got some of the best of everything. The running back, the guy's name is Marshawn Lord, but I thought he might have been named Marshawn Lynch. Running all over folk, and he's starting to really come on now. And the Rattler kid, their quarterback, is one of the big Ooh, did I lose me? Did I just go out?
No, we got you, Coach.
Oh, okay. But the Spencer Rattler kid is their transfer quarterback, who's one of the top quarterbacks in the country. So they got everything in place to to have one of the premier programs in the country. They won a couple games and lost a game to University of Georgia a couple of weeks back, but they beat up on Charlotte this past Saturday. So we get a chance to get in there and have our shot at them this coming Saturday. Questions?
All right, Coach, we'll begin with a question from Mr. James Hill.
Hey, Coach, how you doing this morning, sir?
Hey, James, how are you?
Pretty good. Talk a little bit about Corey Fields, what he was able to do on Saturday. He scored the football. He had a couple picks, but when you think about Fields in that game on Saturday, what are your takeaways from A&T?
Well, Corey had a decent game, threw the ball pretty well. And, we need to maybe make a few more plays, under the same kind of circumstances. But, he's your all-around top-notch quarterback for our level. And, we like the way that he handles himself, the way he leads our team, the way he generally does things. So we need him to play at that level or higher, from this point on.
Coach, you go into South Carolina, Dabo and his guys, you go in and actually you go, that's Clemson. You go into South Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure Shane Beamer want to beat Dabo, but not this time.
There you go. You go into the Gamecocks, and they
Uh-huh.
have the transfer portal quarterback that you talked about, and good SC. Can you just talk about going in there on the road and playing a good game, and it's right up the street?
Yeah, well, you're exactly right, James. We are excited as we can be to have the opportunity to go up and play, in that style of atmosphere. And it's just a fun thing for our kids who mostly want to be a part of that kind of, who aspire to be a part of those kinds of settings themselves. And, they want to show that they, belong and can compete at that level. So, it's kind of a proving grounds for us all. You get a chance to show that, I could have been this or better. And it also gives them an opportunity for recommendations for farther play down the road a piece. Anytime you have a pro scout to come in to your place to evaluate kids, the first thing they want to see is how you guys did against UCF or how you guys did against South Carolina. They want to see how supposedly they matched up with that style of talent. So if you're going to have a chance to play in the next level, then these guys are the guys that you're going to be playing against. So they want to make sure that you can fit against those style kinds of guys. So it gives us a chance to show that we belong. And, I think that means a bunch to, a bunch of our individual guys.
Hey, Coach, in closing, you guys will play anybody. You've played Clemson before. You played South Carolina. On the HBCU side, you play A&T, Jackson State, Celebration Bowl, wherever. Just talk about your program. And again, you guys play quality teams all the time.
We do, James. And, that's part of our, I guess, style of program. We like the idea of being able to go anywhere and play anybody. We hear all of the talk of guarantees and how much you make and that kind of stuff. We don't get into that. We get into actually having a chance to compete. And we like the idea of matching up with these kind of folks. Now, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. But it's always for us, an opportunity to go out and show that we belong with the best in the country. So we just enjoy being able to go out and say that we play the best.
All right, we'll roll with Dr. Cavill.
This is Dr. Cavill with Inside the HBC Sports Lab. Kendrell Flowers did not play in that game, or at least what I could see.
Yeah, he didn't.
Can you talk about?
We didn't play our top two running backs. Kendrell Flowers and Alex James neither played in the game. Kendrell is a little bit shaken up from the previous game. We didn't feel comfortable in the fact that we wanted to put him out there that game. Same thing with Alex. Alex has had a little bit of a concussion deal, so we decided to make sure that we, acted on the side of caution on both those guys' particular situations. We didn't play one of our starting offensive linemen also. So, in these cases, especially at this time of the year, it's early in the year, we want to make sure that we have our guys ready to go for the stretch run. So we'll take, whatever it takes to make sure that we can do the best by our young men's health and by the fact that we can do the best for what the long term of the big decisions are about maybe for the overall season are concerned.
Thank you for that clarification, Coach. Are you able to discuss during the week as you lead up to the game when those type of decisions are made and how you go about how does that affect you in terms of your game plan?
Yeah,
and deciding when to make that decision.
Yeah, the Kendrell Flowers deal this week was a tough one for us. We went right up to game time before we finally made the final decision. We had kind of worked them a little bit toward the back end of practice. Okay. If you don't practice for us by Thursday, then generally we try to say that that's kind of the cutoff point for being able to play in that particular games that week. So, in a situation where if he's not really full speed at that point, then you kind of a little bit in limbo because of the fact that you can see he wants to play. The kid always wants to play. And, it's kind of our responsibility to be adults about stuff of that kind. So we try to make a decision based on what looks like it might be the best at that time for all concerned.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Doc.
Mr. Foreman?
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Fine. How are you, sir?
Doing fine, thank you. Charlotte put up a fight for 30 minutes before South Carolina flexed its muscles and decided to put the game out of reach. What do you need to do to put up 60 minutes of fight and keep the game at hand?
You're right. And Georgia State had their moments, a time or two also, before kind of falling to a similar fate. And, we try to use that as information that could possibly, be a resource for us being able to do similar kinds of things. But, it's all about a stay in the moment kind of a deal. You got to continue to hang in a game. And the longer you hang, the better off you feel. I think the more pressure you put on their side of the ledger. And, that's kind of our mission going into these kinds of games, to do the very best we can, to not flinch, to not necessarily, be too overly, I guess, maybe impressed by the overall process of it all. And if that be the case, then, then we got a chance to hang. We hadn't won one of these, but we're going to eventually get a chance to get in one of these things and actually pull it off. And we've been closer to these guys probably than anybody. Now, I'm sure when I say that, that'll probably be, the few that they need to probably come out and really play well. But at the same time, we just want to kind of hang in there and try to see if we can create some money that's on their part. And at that part, then that we can think that we can actually hang.
All right. A second question, peripheral to the game. With Hurricane Ian coming up the spine of Florida or close to it, your Thursday, Friday, and Saturday could be a little sloppy.
Yeah.
What are you making plans to adjust to the weather during practice and possibly the game, or is it just they're going to get wet too? Let's just go do it.
Well, I'm not quite as confident as some of my other coaching buddies are, about, playing in all these different kinds of conditions. I played in hurricanes before. I played in Hugo. We played the night of Hugo when I was a high school coach some years ago, and I can tell you it was raining sideways. And it's kind of hard to execute, those kind of circumstances. But you're right. But they are right. Both teams got to have the same kind of circumstances. So you don't necessarily get an advantage that way. I can tell you that we've got turf fields. So the best part of that deal is the fact that you can always practice unless it's lightning and thundering. And even when it's raining, it's not like in the old days when it got sloppy and you couldn't go out and do stuff. So you get a chance to actually go out and do whatever you need to go. And the balls might be wet, but they don't get mud on them and that kind of stuff. So that's the big difference. You still get pretty good traction, and you can run around and do stuff. So that wouldn't be much of an issue. The big issue for us at this point would be if it were to rain there on Saturday. Their field is a grass field, and that could be an issue because grass fields do get messy if it pours rain. Now if it just rains kind of regular rain, they all have these great drainage system and that kind of stuff, but if it gets sloppy, then of course all fields have a certain limit of what they can take.
One quick last question. You coached during Hugo. You had a game the night Hugo hit South Carolina. Can you just
I did
real quick?
I did. We had a Thursday night game, and Hugo came through on a Thursday night, and that Friday morning we got out. Nobody had any power anywhere, and that's been at least, I guess maybe 20. I've been here for 20 years. It's been 25 years ago. I was at Keaton High School at the time, and it was a harrowing experience to say the least.
And how'd the game come out?
You know what? I don't think we won a game that year, so it wasn't pretty. I guarantee you. I think we've been 0-10 or 1-10 that year, so I'm pretty sure that we got beat.
Okay, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, Coach, and just for everybody's record, Hurricane Hugo was 33 years ago. I remember it very, very
Is that
well.
right?
Yeah, 1989. Yeah.
Tall Karen. Listen, you were a baby then, baby. You don't remember that.
No, I remember we were in the Virgin Islands and it hit really hard and we were out of
Yeah.
power for 6 months and life was different, but here we are.
Well, this one's here supposed to knock us right in the head. So we might be, on a little bit of some impairment circumstances, but we'll be okay, I guess.
Yeah, you guys be safe. We have one more question from
Yes.
Thomas Grant.
Okay.
Hi, good
Thomas,
morning, Coach.
Hey, Thomas, how you?
I'm holding up, Coach.
Good.
You got 19 players from the Midlands area that are going to be coming back this Saturday. Just first off, how much does a game like this help in terms of recruiting that they get to play in an atmosphere like this? And is just how extra motivated do you think these guys are going to be coming back for really their first home game, so to speak?
You're right. This is the closest thing we've had to a home game. I hadn't even thought about it from that perspective, Thomas, but you always come up with a little different angle on things. We've got, I'm sure a lot of guys, here who are, excited as all get out to be going and playing in this place. And, it's always a little bit of a great experience for guys to, have a chance to play in their states, major universities, home fields. We play at Clemson, we play at South Carolina, we play over at Coastal and some of the other places around the state. So it's always neat that way. I can tell you that all of our guys wanted to play at these places and they use it as kind of a big, I guess maybe reference of sorts for the fact that they should have been allowed to do so. But at the same time, I think the big issue for them is the fact that everybody on a college football team, especially the top-notch guys, feel like, they got a chance to show that they can play big-time ball. And I think that's the big issue. So they want to make sure that they don't put any bad film out there on this deal because they know that everybody will see it.
And one quick thing, Shaq Davis, through these first 3 games, he's sort of what I call he's in a clowny bubble, so to speak, because it seemed like ever since he's had the big game, that people have those high expectations. How has he dealt with that?
I think he's done well. He didn't play quite as well, but receiving is kind of a combination of all the different elements of what happens in the offense. Your quarterback's got to play good. You got to offensive line. You can be out there running around wide open, and the quarterback can't get the football off. So a lot of what actually, his whole overall process depends on, is built around what goes on the team. So he's done well, and he had a really good game this past evening and this past Saturday evening. And he had a big play in the Cookman game. So I think he's come along. I think he's done nicely. I would have liked to see him be a little more consistent, but at the same time, I don't think he's dropped all the ball. Everything he's been thrown at him, he catches.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, Thomas.
All right, Coach Pugh, those are the questions we have for you this week. Good luck this weekend and please be safe out there.
Thanks, Karen. Y'all have a good rest of the week too.
You too, take care. All right, South Carolina State makes the short trip to Columbia, South Carolina to take on the Gamecocks of South Carolina at 12 p.m. The game will air live on the SEC network. And last but definitely not least, we have Morgan State head coach Damon Wilson. Good morning, Coach Wilson. How are you?
I'm good, Karen. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Great.
All right, Coach, how was your open week? How'd it go for you?
It was great. We got an opportunity to try to get some guys healthy as well as hit the road recruiting a little bit and start to clean up some things that we've messed up on the first few games of the season.
Awesome. And then you host Virginia Lynchburg this Saturday. What can we expect?
I expect a complete game on Morgan State football. Virginia Lynchburg is a team that probably plays one of the toughest schedules. Then they play everybody in our conference almost. And, they have some ball players that like to get after it a little bit. They're coming off a tough loss to North Carolina Central. But we're going to focus on us this week and try to do the things that we need to do to be successful.
Awesome, Coach. We'll now turn to the media. First question coming from James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and the guys are well. Just talk a little bit about continuing to build your program. You've had a bye week. It's all about the Bears football way at Morgan State University. Just give us your impressions right now.
The guys really responded well last week, having a bye week. Guys were in the weight room when they were supposed to be. They didn't miss class. They attended study hall when they were supposed to attend study hall. And then from a football standpoint, all of them sat back and we talked about things that they wanted to improve on. and as a team, and also from each position group. And that's something that, we were pretty much in line, because I did the same thing with the coaches. And, for the most part, everybody was in line in the areas that we need to improve. And I think we took advantage of that time last week we had to focus on us getting better. And yesterday they came in and worked pretty hard on a Sunday. So I'm excited about the direction we're going in.
Coach Wilson, do they understand that you're a winner and what it takes to win? And is that rubbing off on those gentlemen, so to speak?
Indeed, and we're learning how to win right now as a program. We had some success a few weeks ago against Sacred Heart, which they needed that. They needed to receive some, the reward from hard work, and so they understand what it feels like to win. Now we have to continue that. So how to sustain winning? That's the next step, and how to handle the success will be that final step in the process.
Coach, VUL comes in, like you said, they'll play anybody, tough schedule. Talk a little bit about what you see from them. And again, at the end of the day, it's all about Morgan.
That's about big receivers, that can stretch the field vertically. And the quarterback does not hesitate at all as far as chucking the ball down the field and giving those guys an opportunity to make some plays. Defensive line, they have a guy that has a high motor. He gets out there pretty good. I think if we do what we're supposed to do and work our progression, we'll be in good shape. But they have some athletes for sure that are going to cause us some challenges.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week.
Yes, sir. You do the same.
Ed Lee.
Morning, Damon.
Good morning. How you doing?
If you made a decision about whether Carson Baker or Deuce Taylor will start quarterback?
Yes, Carson is a starting quarterback. Like I said, Carson, they got banged up a little bit against Sacred Heart, and we went with Deuce. But Carson is back healthy. Bye week was right on time. Carson will be the starter this upcoming week.
What did you see from Deuce in the game against Sacred Heart? And what played a role in your decision to go back to Carson?
Well, like Deuce was already preparing to play as a starter, be a starter. We knew going into the game we were going to play Deuce early. And then, like I said, when Carson took a little hit, he was banged up. That pretty much made the decision for us to go with Deuce. And now, like I said, Carson is back. Deuce is still preparing as a starter, like he's done all the time. And we feel really good with both of those guys having success, having the ability to have success with both of them.
How would you describe their relationship in the quarterback room?
I think it's good. Those guys show up every morning to meet with our offensive coordinator, Coach Sherman, and they spend a lot of time together off the football field. I see those guys helping one another when one is on the field, one is on the sideline. I think that was one thing that really helped us last week. When Carson came out the game, each series, he was relaying what he was seeing to Deuce. And when Deuce got an opportunity to play, he went out and didn't have to kind of experience it himself. He experienced it through Carson's play, which was good. And that's what it takes to have a successful program.
Is that unusual between a starter and a reserve to have that kind of close relationship where they're helping each other?
I don't think it's unusual. I think it's important that the coaching staff preaches that from day one. And I've always been a next man up type of head coach. And now we're going through that process of the guys buying into it and believing in that. And we're only good as our weakest link, as they say. And I think it's our responsibilities and players' responsibility to continue to uplift the others in the room. And I think Carson has done a great job with that, as Carson has had the most playing experience at the collegiate level. And so he's really helped improve the maturity of that room. And Deuce has definitely been there. And now they're having great conversations about the game on the sideline, in the film room, because they're seeing the game the same way now.
Dan, my last question is, obviously with the way Deuce ended that game against Sacred Heart, people might say, should he deserve a chance to start? But can you sort of walk through why you decided to go back to Carson?
As I mentioned, because Carson was hurt, and at the end of the day, they can ask the question. But that's why I'm the head coach to make the decision, and I feel very comfortable with either one of those guys being a starter at this program.
Thanks, Damon.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Cavell.
This is Dr. Cavell with Inside the HBC Sports Lab. Coach Wilson, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing well.
Right.
I know the following week, when you talked about going into your open week, you talked about being able to evaluate, the first couple of weeks, 2 games or so. How did that evaluation go for you?
I think it went well, man. I think we are a lot further along with the knowledge than I thought we would be with our players' football IQ, understanding our playbook. Once again, we started pretty much really late as a staff, and the first time we got our entire team together was in camp. And it was tough to install the offense, defense, and special team playbook, as well as learn the personalities of our guys. But we're a lot further along. We're now turning the page and kind of going to chapter 2 of those playbooks and adding some things that we didn't have in. We just wanted to get the foundation in for the first few games and make sure we mastered that. I think we've done that now. Now we're trying to add some wrinkles to our playbooks and getting prepared for the long haul of the season.
Well, you get into chapter 2 and it starts with Virginia Lynchburg, different classification of programs. When you go into a matchup like that, whether it's up or down, in this case, what do you look for to get done in this matchup?
Tomorrow's gonna be big, and tomorrow's gonna be big because it's our first time on the practice field since last week, since the bye week. So I want to see how focused these guys are. We understand that it's a different level of playing, if you will, but just coming from a Division II program, myself, I understood the opportunities that we had when we played up. I understood the players' mindsets going into those games. So I'm going to make sure our guys understand that these guys aren't going to come in and lay down for us. We must execute at a high level. We haven't done anything yet as a program to be sitting in a place where, we want to show up and just win. We have to put some work in, and those guys are going to have an opportunity to show me tomorrow morning that they're ready to, turn to chapter 2, not just with regards to the playbook, but also the mental aspect of the football game.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you, Doc.
All right, Coach Wilson, those are the questions we have for you. Thank you for your time. Good luck against VUL on Saturday.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks a lot. You guys have a good week.
You too. The Bears host Virginia Lynchburg at 12 p.m. on Saturday. The game will air live on the MEAC Digital Network on ESPN+. At this time, we'd like to conclude our press conference, but before we do, as always, I'd like to thank the media for joining us today, the sports information directors who've helped us with the call, and as always, the MEAC would like to thank its corporate partners. Our next call will be Monday, October 3rd at 10 a.m. As always, for up-to-date news on MEAC football and other sponsored sports, log on to MEACsports.com. Follow the MEAC on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at MEAC Sports, and subscribe to the MEAC Digital Network on YouTube. For those of you on the East Coast, please take care as Hurricane Ian approaches. Once again, thank you for being with us today and have a great football week.